What would you do if you were stranded in the wilderness with nothing but your wits? It's a terrifying thought, but it's the reality for the characters in some of today's most gripping TV shows. These aren't just stories. They're masterclasses in survival, pushing the limits of human endurance and ingenuity. Today, we're diving deep into some of the most intense survival scenarios from modern television and exploring what they teach us about staying alive against all odds. From the desolate Arctic to a plane crash on a deserted island, we'll uncover the strategies, the psychology, and the sheer willpower it takes to survive when everything is trying to kill you. Stick around because you might just learn something that could save your life one day. Let's start with a show that threw its characters into the ultimate survival test right from the first episode, Yellowjackets. Imagine this, a high school girls' soccer team's plane crashes deep in the Canadian wilderness. No adults, no rules, just the harsh, unforgiving wild. For 19 months, they have to battle starvation, the elements, and a descent into primal chaos. So, what's the first lesson here? The immediate aftermath of a disaster is critical. The girls who survived the initial crash had to quickly assess their situation. They had injuries to treat with limited supplies, a need for shelter, and the terrifying realization that rescue wasn't coming anytime soon. Their first move was to find a water source and build a makeshift shelter from the wreckage. This highlights a core survival principle, the rule of threes. You can survive about 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter in extreme conditions, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. The Yellowjackets instinctively prioritized shelter and water, which is exactly what survival experts advise. Their story is a stark reminder that in a crisis, panic is the enemy, and a clear head focused on immediate needs is your best asset. But physical survival is only half the battle. The psychological toll of being stranded is immense. In Yellowjackets, we see the social structure of a high school team break down and reform into something much darker and more tribal. This brings us to a crucial aspect of long-term survival, group dynamics. Initially, teamwork is their strength. They work together to hunt, forage, and maintain a signal fire. But as hope dwindles and hunger gnaws at them, fractures appear. Cliques form, leadership is challenged, and paranoia sets in. This is a realistic portrayal of what happens to people under extreme stress. Survival isn't just about finding food. It's about managing fear, maintaining morale, and navigating complex social relationships when the stakes are life and death. The show brutally illustrates that your biggest threat might not be the wilderness, but the person standing next to you. Establishing clear roles, maintaining open communication, and having a fair system for distributing resources are vital for a group's survival. Without that structure, society, even a small one, can collapse. Now let's travel from the woods to the water with the wilds. This show presents a similar premise. A group of teenage girls stranded on a deserted island after a plane crash. But here's the twist. They are unknowingly part of a social experiment, while they believe they're fighting for their lives through sheer luck and ingenuity. Their every move is being monitored. This setup allows the show to explore different approaches to survival in a more controlled, albeit cruel, way. One of the key takeaways from the wilds is the importance of diverse skills within a group. You have the pragmatic and resourceful leader, the optimist, who keeps spirits high, the cautious one, who thinks about. Each girl brings something unique to the table. One character, Fatine, might seem materialistic at first, but her designer suitcase is full of unexpectedly useful items. Another, Dot, has practical knowledge from a tough upbringing that proves invaluable. This shows that everyone has the potential to contribute. In a real survival situation, you need to identify the strengths of each person in your group and utilize them effectively. The artist might be good at drawing maps, the quiet observer might notice things others miss. Never underestimate anyone's potential contribution. Furthermore, The Wilds emphasizes the power of adaptation and innovation. The girls learn to desalinate water using a tarp from the wreckage. They figure out which plants are edible through trial and error, and they even manage to build a sophisticated shelter. This is where creativity becomes a survival tool. It's not just about following a manual. It's about looking at your environment and the resources you have, no matter how strange, and thinking, how can I use this? A piece of metal becomes a knife. A plastic bottle becomes a water filter. This mindset of resourcefulness is what separates survivors from victims. They don't just see a crashed plane. They see a hardware store. They don't just see an island. They see a pantry and a pharmacy, if they're smart enough to unlock its secrets. This creative problem-solving is a skill that can be honed even in our daily lives and is absolutely essential when your life depends on it. Let's shift gears to a different kind of survival, one that takes place in a world that has already ended, The Last of Us. Here the threat isn't just the environment, it's the infected, and just as often, other desperate human beings. This post-apocalyptic setting teaches us about survival in a collapsed society. The most prominent lesson from Joel and Ellie's journey is the concept of situational awareness. They are constantly scanning their surroundings, listening for the slightest sound, and assessing every new person they meet for potential threats. In their world, a moment of distraction can be fatal. This constant vigilance is mentally exhausting, but necessary. They know which areas to avoid, they understand the behavior of the infected, and they've learned to read people's intentions, whether they're a potential ally or a deadly foe. This heightened awareness is a survival skill that applies even in our safe, modern world. Being aware of your surroundings in a city at night, or paying attention to a changing situation can help you avoid danger long before it becomes a crisis. Another profound theme in The Last of Us is the emotional and moral cost of survival. Joel has done terrible things to survive, and it has left him hardened and emotionally closed off. His journey with Ellie forces him to confront this. Survival in a brutal world often requires making impossible choices. Do you trust a stranger? Do you share your limited resources? Do you use violence to protect yourself? The show doesn't give easy answers. It shows that survival can strip away your humanity. And the real challenge is to stay alive without losing yourself completely. Finding a reason to keep going, a purpose beyond just breathing. What ultimately fuels a survivor's will to live. For Joel, that reason becomes Ellie. It's a powerful reminder that psychological resilience and having something to fight for are just as important as knowing how to build a fire or find food. Without a purpose, the body might survive, but the spirit can die. Finally, let's look at Station 11. While also set after a society-collapsing pandemic, this show offers a different, more hopeful perspective on survival. The story follows a traveling troupe of Shakespearean actors and musicians years after the flu wiped out most of humanity. Their motto is, "Survival is insufficient." This is perhaps the most profound lesson of all. Yes, they need food, water, and shelter, and they face dangers on the road, but they believe that surviving isn't enough. You also need to live. They risk their lives to bring art, music, and stories to scattered settlements. Why? Because art reminds people of their shared humanity. It creates community, fosters hope, and gives life meaning beyond the daily struggle. In the darkest of times, a song, a play, or a story can be a lifeline. It reconnects people to the world that was lost and gives them a reason to rebuild. Station 11 teaches us that culture is not a luxury. It is a fundamental part of the human experience, and a critical component of long-term psychological survival. Rebuilding a world isn't just about infrastructure, it's about rebuilding the things that make life worth living. So what have we learned from these modern survival epics? From Yellowjackets, the importance of immediate action and navigating group psychology. From The Wilds, the value. From The Last of Us, the necessity of situational awareness and the moral weight of survival. And from Station 11, the profound truth that survival alone is not enough. These shows, while fictional, tap into our deepest fears and our greatest strengths. They remind us that the human spirit is incredibly resilient, adaptable, and capable of finding hope and purpose even in the most desperate of circumstances. The skills are practical, but the mindset is everything. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the world of TV survival. I hope you found it as fascinating as I do. What are some of your favorite survival moments from these shows or any others? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video and want to explore more topics like this, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching and stay safe out there.